Hi again, and welcome back to 5 Things from Google. Welcome back to the 4th in my controversy series. This week is a topic recommended to me by my brother-in-law Craig. Now he sent me a link to a YouTube article about a person supporting the so-called Flat Earth conspiracy. Now this particular video was quite humorous due to the sheer amount of swearing in it, but once you watch one video on the subject, it's pretty easy to spend a lot of time clicking the next one and the one after that, and so it keeps going. In fact, a quick search on the subject yields an impressive 5.3 million videos. Yes, 5.3 million. If you remove the ones which are debunking flat Earth conspiracies, there are still 4.8 million left. That means there are approximately 9 times the amount supporting it, or at least questioning our assumption about a spherical universe, than to point out the issues with the conspiracy. Now the idea of the Earth being flat is far from new, having been a notion shared by a wide range of cultures dating all the way back to ancient Greece. Despite going in and out of favour, the concept regained serious momentum in the mid-20th century when a man called Samuel Shenton established the Flat Earth Society in 1956. Samuel Shenton was a signwriter who lived with his wife Lillian in a ginger brick terrace in suburban Dover. He was the son of an army sergeant major, born in Great Yarmouth, and by the 1920s claimed to have invented an airship which would rise into the atmosphere and remain stationary until the Earth spun westwards at 1,000 kilometers an hour to the desired destination at the same latitude. He couldn't understand why somebody had not previously thought of the idea. That was until he discovered in the reading room of the British Library at Bloomsbury that Archbishop Stevens, who was a friend of Lady Blount, who was the founder of the Universal Zetetic Society, had suggested an aircraft design similar to his own. The so-called Bedford Level experiment is a series of observations carried out along a 6-mile length of the old Bedford River on the Bedford Level of the Cambridgeshire Fens in the United Kingdom. This was done during the 19th and early 20th centuries, and it was there to measure the curvature of the Earth. Samuel Burley Rowbotham, who conducted the first observations starting in 1838, claimed he'd proven that the Earth to be flat. It was he who founded the Universal Zetetic Society. Zetetic means proceeding by inquiry. Rowbotham published a pamphlet called Zetetic Astronomy. He later expanded this into a book called Earth, Not a Globe, proposing the Earth is a flat disk, centered at the North Pole and bounded along its southern edge by a wall of ice, what we know as Antarctica. Rowbotham further held the Sun and Moon were just 3,000 miles above the Earth, and the cosmos was just 3,100 miles above the Earth. When Shenton discovered the Zetetic Astronomy, he was an instant convert. What the authorities were concealing, Shenton decided, was the fact that the Earth was indeed flat. Shenton soon constructed his own cosmology, based partly on his own interpretation of Genesis, that the Earth was a flat disk, centered on the North Pole, with the Zetetic notion of the South Pole being an impenetrable wall of ice that marked the edge of the pit that is the Earth in the endless flat plane, forming the universe. The Sun cast a narrow beam like a flashlight, moving over a table as it traced flat circles that varied over the 365-day cycle. The Sun was 32 miles in diameter, 3,000 miles above the Earth, and the Moon was also 32 miles in diameter, but just 2,550 miles above the Earth. Today, the Flat Earth movement has seen a recent resurgence, with Twitter and YouTube acting as incubators for the conspiracy. Now, according to the Flat Earth Society, the most obvious proof to our planet's flatness can be found by looking at the horizon. The horizon always rises to meet eye level, or so its website proclaims. Flat Earthers claim the horizon will always remain completely flat to the observer, regardless of how high they travel, and that people who claim to see the Earth's curvature from a plane are simply lying. We have testimonies from several pilots saying that no curvature can be seen at commercial airline heights. It has been suggested that aeroplane windows serve to distort the view of passengers and make them believe they see curvature when indeed there is none, their website reads. To bolster their argument, flat earthers suggest that indeed, if our planet was a giant spinning sphere, the oceans of water would be flowing down to level and covering land, with some rivers also impossibly flowing uphill, because the natural physics of water is to find and maintain its level. But what about all of those pictures from space that clearly show Earth as a round planet? There are a plethora of resources available that show us we can't trust the photographic evidence from organizations such as NASA, their website reads. Some of the evidence that these should be discounted include constant changes in the depiction of the Earth, inconsistent lighting in moon footage, and other irregularities. So, what other evidence do they preach? Well, the flat Earth conspiracy theorists hold the belief that our planet's sky is surrounded by a huge dome that holds in the air and protects us, with the Bible even making mentioning of a firmamented in which is the sun and moon were placed. That was in Genesis 1:14-19. While extremely complex, the movement believes the sun is actually much smaller and closer to the Earth than we have been taught, with the angle of the sun's rays offering so-called proof of this. As we already stated, flat earthers believe that our day and night cycle is explained by the fact that the sun and moon are spheres measuring just 51 kilometers that move in circles 4,828 kilometers above the planet. A shift from scientific consensus, which states the sun is 149.6 million kilometers from Earth. The sun moves in circles around the North Pole. When it's over your head, it's day, and when it's not, it's night. The sun acts like a spotlight and shines downward as it moves, the Society explains. The apparent effect of the sun rising and setting is usually explained as a perspective effect. The flat Earth movement also has an answer, if you're interested, for the seasons. The radius of the sun's orbit around the Earth's axis symmetry varies throughout the year, being smallest when summer is in the northern annulus and largest when it's summer in the southern annulus, their website reads. As for the reason why gravity doesn't pull the Earth into a spherical shape, well, flat earther advocates have a very simple answer. Gravity doesn't exist. Righto. While some of these concepts might sound enticing enough to send you into the flat earthers' arms, remember there are just as many sources that debunk the theory, like, for instance, science. Anyway, here's a few statements from flat earthers that we can find on Twitter. Number 1. @BadBuck99 put this picture up. Reality and real pictures don't lie. The horizon on a flat linear plane always rises to eye level. It would not do that on a globe. #flat earth. @Whitshaw responded, well, how large do you think the effect is on that height? Can you see 0.01 degrees? @BadBuck99 responds, degrees are not the point being made. The horizon always being eye level is. Someone else, @Dr. Buttons, gets involved. His point is, the horizon does drop with altitude, it's just you normally can't see it. The second one comes from K. Cock, and he put up this. How many 500-mile sections of perfectly flat horizon does it take to make a sphere? Tony Perry responded, except if you had 500 copies of that image, you'd find the horizon isn't flat. I'm sorry, you just don't understand geometry. K. Cock, however, was not going to be denied. I really don't care if you believe a lie. There is no curve. You've been indoctrinated and that's okay. I don't even believe the Earth is flat. I know it's flat. Too much proof to say otherwise, and no proof for the globe. So good luck to you. Our third one comes from @HollyHadeGood. She put this picture up proclaiming, it's called a horizon because it's a horizontal line and not a curvaison. To which Tony the Dwyer simply responded with this, no, it isn't. And he helpfully posted a link to Etny Online where, and this is what I quote, it says about the horizon. Horizon is a late 14th century word, horizon from the Old French horizon, earlier horizonte from the Latin horizontum, which is from the Greek horizon, meaning bounding circle. It was restored in the English 17th century in imitation of Latin. The Old English used igamiak or eye mark for limit of view horizon. The apparent horizon is distinguished from the celestial or astronomical horizon. Now, meanwhile, in the science camp, Neil deGrasse Tyson wrote this in response to rapper B.O.B., stating that the Earth is flat. Earth's curve indeed blocks 150 feet of Manhattan, but most buildings in Midtown are way taller than that, Tyson wrote to B.O.B. on Twitter. Polaris is gone by 1.5 degrees south latitude. You've never been south of Earth's equator, or if you have, clearly you've never looked up. Posky.com, however, points out 10 ways to decide yourself the world is round, from observations about the moon, ships and the horizon, varying star constellations, shadows and sticks, and many more. I'll put the link to the website below the video. Now, it's fair to say that for every single reason why the vast majority of us accept that the world is round and spins around the sun in a celestial dance where distances become quickly overwhelming, the flat earthers are extremely passionate that it's all a lie. In fact, it's the passion they exhibit that almost makes it a religion in short. I'd be keen to get your own views. As for me, I don't accept that NASA or the governments are concealing a lie from us. If I'm proved wrong, boy, will I be embarrassed. But I somehow doubt it's ever going to happen. Until next time, stay safe, and I will see you again in the next video.